Welcome back to the channel. Rare Coins Collections. If you're a fan of rare and valuable coins, you're in for a treat today. We're going to take a close look at a coin that's often overlooked in most collections, but could be worth much more than you might think. Today's star is the 1982 United States quarter dollar. While it might seem like just another typical quarter at first glance, this particular coin hides a secret that could make it worth a lot of money. By the end of this video, you'll know why this coin could be worth $42,000. So let's dive in and discover what makes the 1982 quarter so special. First, let's set the scene for the year 1982. In the early 1980s, the United States was in the midst of a period of economic change. The country was navigating through a recession, dealing with high inflation, and adjusting to the economic policies of President Ronald Reagan. The mint was in full production mode, minting coins for daily circulation, and the quarter was no exception. The familiar design of George Washington's portrait was still on the obverse, and on the reverse, the eagle design from the early 1930s remained in circulation. It was a time of transition for the U.S. Mint, but most people didn't realize that a small batch of these quarters would end up holding significant value in the years to come. So, what makes the 1982 quarter worth more than its face value of 25 cents? It's all about a rare error that occurred during the minting process. Most of the 1982 quarters were struck normally, but there was a very small number of quarters that were struck with a significant flaw. The coin's design was misaligned. This error, known as a misstrike, occurs when the dies used to strike the coin are not perfectly aligned. The result is a coin with double or distorted features, which makes it stand out from the rest of the regular quarters in circulation. This rare mistake caused a slight doubling effect on the date, the lettering, and sometimes even the design elements like Washington's portrait. Now, you might be asking, how can something like that make a coin worth so much? In the world of coin collecting, errors like this are extremely valuable. Why? Because they are incredibly rare. While millions of coins are minted every year, only a very small number of them end up with mistakes. The rarity of a coin with a minting error is what drives its value up. And when it comes to the 1982 quarter, those misaligned or misstruck coins have become highly sought after by collectors. The more distinct and noticeable the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. A simple misalignment of the design could make this quarter worth a small fortune. It's important to note that not all 1982 quarters are worth a huge amount of money. The regular, error-free 1982 quarters are still worth just 25 cents, just like any other quarter. However, if you happen to come across one of the rare misstruck coins, you could be looking at a coin worth much more. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value, too. Coins that have been well preserved and show minimal signs of wear are worth far more than those that have been heavily circulated. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition can fetch a significantly higher price than one that has been worn down by years of use. Collectors and investors alike are always on the lookout for coins that are in excellent condition, especially those that come from specific years with known errors. That's why a 1982 quarter with a minting error can be worth up to $42,000 in top condition. Yes, that's right, $42,000 for a single quarter. It's amazing to think that a coin that's worth only 25 cents when minted can now be worth so much due to an error at the mint. It's proof that in the world of coin collecting, rarity and condition are key. So, how do you know if you have one of these rare 1982 quarters? The first thing you'll want to do is carefully inspect the coin for any signs of a misstrike. Look closely at the date on the obverse. If the numbers appear doubled, distorted, or blurry, it's a strong sign that you might have an error coin. Similarly, check the lettering around Washington's portrait for any doubling or misalignment. The design elements on the reverse, like the eagle, may also show some signs of the misstrike, but they'll be less obvious than the obverse details. A magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe can be extremely helpful when you're examining the coin, as it allows you to see the smallest details clearly. If you think you have a valuable 1982 quarter with an error, you'll want to protect it from further damage. Coins that are stored improperly can lose their value quickly, so it's important to keep your coin in a safe, secure holder, away from moisture or dirt. If you believe your coin is a potential high-value specimen, it's a good idea to have it professionally graded. Professional grading companies can assess the condition of your coin and give it an official grade, which will help determine its market value. Coins that are graded as MS65 or higher, meaning they are in mint state with minimal wear, are especially valuable. Now, you might wonder why these minting errors occur in the first place. Errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process. It could be that the dies used to strike the coin became misaligned, or the pressure used during the minting process was uneven. Whatever the cause, the result is a coin that's different from all the others, and that uniqueness is what makes it so desirable to collectors. While many coins with errors are discovered and sold every year, the 1982 quarter with a misstrike is a particularly rare find. Most of these coins are long gone, lost to time or damage. But if you're lucky enough to find one, you could be holding on to a small fortune. It's a great example of how something as simple as a minting mistake can turn an ordinary coin into a rare collectible. The value of these error coins is only expected to rise as time goes on, making them even more sought after by collectors and investors in the future. In conclusion, the 1982 United States quarter dollar with a misstrike error is a rare and valuable coin that could be worth up to $42,000 in top condition. If you find one of these coins in your collection or come across one in your spare change, make sure to take a closer look. It might just be the hidden gem you've been searching for. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey, always keep an eye out for those coins with a story to tell. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating and often overlooked coin from the United States Mint, the 1983 quarter dollar. Most people think of quarters as just pocket change, but as we're about to discover, this particular coin can be worth far more than you might expect. If you've ever wondered if that quarter you found in your spare change could be worth a small fortune, this video is for you. Stick around, because we'll reveal just how much a 1983 quarter dollar could be worth in today's market. Spoiler alert, the value might surprise you. Let's rewind to 1983 for a moment. The US was in the midst of a period of economic recovery after a major recession in the early 1980s. President Ronald Reagan had just started his second term in office, and the economy was beginning to stabilize. But while the nation was focusing on political and economic change, the United States Mint was busy producing millions of coins, including the standard Washington quarter. On the surface, the 1983 quarter dollar looks like a typical coin, featuring George Washington's portrait on the obverse and the familiar eagle design on the reverse. Nothing extraordinary, right? Well, what many people don't realize is that within this year's coinage, there are some hidden gems that are worth significantly more than face value, specifically a certain rare variety that will have you looking at your 1983 quarters a lot more closely. What makes the 1983 quarter special, and why is it in the spotlight for collectors and investors? It's all about the elusive error coins that were struck that year. While the majority of the 1983 quarters were minted without any issues, a small number of them were struck with notable minting errors, most notably the D mint mark on coins that were actually struck in the wrong location. If you look at a standard 1983 quarter, you'll notice the D mint mark, which indicates the Denver Mint, position near the bottom of the coin. But in a handful of these quarters, the D mint mark was found in a slightly different place, off-center or even in the wrong spot entirely. These coins are known as misplaced mint marks, and they've become incredibly valuable in the world of numismatics. Because this error was rare and affected only a limited number of quarters, these misplaced mint mark coins have become highly coveted by collectors looking to complete their error collections. The rarity of these coins plays a huge role in their worth, as collectors are always on the hunt for coins with unusual characteristics that make them stand out. After all, when it comes to rare coins, the more unique, the better. But the value of the 1983 quarter doesn't just depend on the error. The condition of the coin is also extremely important. Coins that are in mint state, meaning they have been preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, can command significantly higher prices. These well-preserved coins are in high demand because they represent an error in production that has remained undisturbed by time and circulation. If you're lucky enough to find a 1983 quarter with a misplaced mint mark in mint state, you could be holding on to a truly valuable coin. So, what exactly can you expect a 1983 quarter dollar with this minting error to be worth? As of now, a 1983 quarter with a misplaced mint mark can fetch upwards of $44,000 depending on its condition and rarity. That's right, $44,000 for a single quarter. If you come across one of these rare gems in your collection, you could be looking at a small fortune. Even if you happen to find one in just good or fine condition, it could still be worth significantly more than a regular quarter. Now you may be wondering, how can I spot one of these rare 1983 quarters? The first thing you'll want to do is carefully examine the mint mark. As we mentioned earlier, the mint mark should be located near the bottom of the coin, just under Washington's portrait. However, in the case of the misplaced mint mark error, the D mint mark will appear either slightly off-center, misplaced, or in an entirely different spot. It may even look faint or doubled, depending on the severity of the error. The easiest way to identify this error is to use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to get a closer look at the mint mark. With a little patience and careful observation, you'll be able to determine if you have a coin worth much more than face value. In addition to the misplaced mint marks, there are also other characteristics to look out for. Some 1983 quarters have been found with doubling or other minor misstrikes, which can also increase their value. These types of errors, although more subtle, still make the coin unique and desirable among collectors. If you believe you found a quarter with any kind of minting error, it's always a good idea to get it professionally graded by an expert. Professional grading can provide an accurate assessment of your coin's condition and its potential value, helping you determine whether it's worth getting it insured or sold. As for why these errors occurred, it's important to remember that coin production is a highly complex process. Errors can happen when the machinery at the mint malfunctions, when the dies used to strike the coins become misaligned, or when the pressure of the coin press isn't applied evenly. These errors are typically caught early on, but sometimes a few rare ones make it out into circulation, creating opportunities for sharp-eyed collectors to find a piece of history. When you think about it, the 1983 quarter with a misplaced mint mark is more than just a coin. It's a snapshot of a moment in history, a small mistake that has become a valuable treasure. For collectors, finding these error coins is like uncovering a piece of hidden treasure, and the thrill of discovery is part of what makes coin collecting so exciting. In conclusion, the 1983 United States quarter dollar with a misplaced mint mark is a rare and valuable coin that could be worth up to $44,000 in the right condition. If you have one of these quarters, you might be holding on to a small fortune. So, if you're a coin collector or just happen to have some old quarters lying around, it's definitely worth taking the time to carefully inspect your coins. You never know when you might come across a valuable error coin that could be worth thousands of dollars. Today, we have a very exciting topic that might just change the way you look at your everyday pocket change. We're going to talk about the 1986 United States quarter dollar, a coin that is not only a fascinating piece of history but one that could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents. You may be wondering, how is that possible? Well, stick around, because we're about to uncover a hidden gem that could make you thousands of dollars richer. Yes, you heard that right, a quarter that could be worth $48,000. Let's get started and dive into why this specific 1986 quarter dollar is so highly sought after by collectors. Let's set the stage for 1986. The US was experiencing a time of economic stability, having moved past the early 1980s recession. President Ronald Reagan was nearing the end of his second term, and the country was focused on issues like tax reform, military growth, and national security. Amid all the political changes, the United States Mint was busy producing millions of coins, including the familiar Washington quarter that was part of the standard circulation at the time. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but behind the scenes, a rare mistake was made, one that would eventually lead to a highly prized and valuable coin. Now, at first glance, the 1986 quarter dollar might look like just another standard quarter you'd find in your pocket or the coin jar. It features the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse, and the classic eagle design on the reverse. However, it's not the design that makes this particular coin so special. It's an error, specifically, a minting flaw, that could make a small number of these coins worth thousands of dollars to the right collector. One of the most significant reasons the 1986 quarter dollar is valuable is because of a specific error that occurred during the minting process. A small batch of these quarters was struck with a serious misalignment of the dies used to stamp the coin. This misalignment resulted in some of the coins being produced with double features. The date, the lettering, and sometimes even parts of Washington's portrait were struck twice, creating a double strike effect. As a result, these coins look distorted and appear to have been stamped more than once, making them unique in the world of numismatics. While minting errors happen from time to time, double strikes like these are considered rarities. Most coins from the 1986 minting process were produced without any issues and remain worth just 25 cents today. But when you find a quarter with such an obvious and noticeable error, it immediately becomes a much more valuable piece. Collectors who specialize in error coins are particularly interested in double strikes because of how rare they are and how they represent an anomaly in the minting process. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. But that's not all. There are additional factors that make the 1986 quarter with a double strike even more appealing to collectors. Coin condition is crucial when determining value, and this is where things get even more exciting. A quarter that has been well preserved, kept in pristine condition, and has not seen much circulation will be worth much more than one that's been tossed around in your pocket for years. A coin in mint state, meaning it's virtually untouched by time and wear, is a highly prized find. Coins like this are often graded by professionals, and a top-grade 1986 double-strike quarter could fetch a significant sum on the market. Why is the condition so important? In the world of coin collecting, scarcity and quality go hand in hand. The rarer the coin, and the better its condition, the more valuable it becomes. So if you happen to come across a 1986 quarter that has a double strike and is in uncirculated condition, it could be worth a fortune. This makes it essential for any collector to inspect their quarters carefully, especially if they have coins from 1986. Don't just assume that all the quarters from that year are just standard pieces of currency. Look for those unique features, such as double strikes or misaligned dates. Another point of interest is that these error coins often become even more valuable as time goes on. As more collectors become aware of their rarity and desirability, the demand for these coins increases, which drives up their value. If you happen to find an uncirculated 1986 double strike quarter today, it's very likely that its value will continue to climb over the years as more collectors seek out these rare pieces. So, how much could one of these error coins actually be worth? It might seem hard to believe, but a 1986 quarter dollar with a double strike error, in pristine, uncirculated condition, could be valued at a stunning $48,000. Yes, that's $48,000 for a single coin. This is a significant amount of money for a coin that, in most cases, you wouldn't think twice about before spending it. But as we've learned, the value of a coin is determined by much more than just its face value. It's about rarity, condition, and the story behind it, just like this 1986 quarter. So, how can you spot a valuable 1986 quarter in your collection? The key feature to look for is the double strike effect. Check for any distortion or doubling of the date, the lettering, or the features of George Washington's portrait. The error may be subtle, or it may be quite noticeable, depending on how severe the misalignment was during the minting process. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to get a closer look at the details, especially around the date and the words, Liberty, and In God We Trust. The more pronounced the doubling, the more likely the coin is to be worth a significant amount of money. If you think you found one of these rare coins, it's important to have it professionally graded to determine its true value. Professional graders will assess the condition of the coin and provide an official grade, which will help you understand its worth in today's market. If the coin is in mint state and has been properly preserved, its value could be far greater than just a few $100s. It could be worth thousands, if not tens of thousands. In conclusion, The 1986 United States quarter dollar with a double strike error is one of the most exciting and valuable coins from the mid-1980s. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare pieces in excellent condition, you could be holding a coin worth up to $48,000. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who enjoys the thrill of finding rare treasures, always remember to inspect your quarters carefully. You never know when you might stumble upon a valuable error coin that could change your life. Today we're diving into a truly exciting topic that might just have you looking at your spare change in a whole new light. We're talking about the 1987 United States quarter dollar, a coin that might look like any other quarter at first glance but has the potential to be worth thousands, yes, thousands, of dollars. Stick with us until the end, because by the time we're done, you might just find yourself with a small fortune in your hands, hidden in plain sight. Let's set the stage. The year was 1987, and the United States was going through a period of economic recovery after a couple of years of instability. President Ronald Reagan had just started his second term in office, and the nation was enjoying a time of relative peace and prosperity. It was also a time when the U.S. Mint was working hard to produce millions of coins, including the standard Washington quarter that was circulating during that period. Now, you might be thinking, what's so special about the 1987 quarter dollar? It looks just like any other quarter. Well, you're not alone. Many people overlook this coin when they come across it in their pocket change, but that's where they're wrong. The 1987 quarter is actually a key date in the world of coin collecting, and it all comes down to something rare that occurred during the minting process that makes this coin incredibly valuable. What makes the 1987 quarter so special? To put it simply, it's all about the minting errors. While most of the 1987 quarters were struck without any issues, a small percentage of them were affected by errors that make them incredibly rare. One of the most significant errors that occurred was a die clash error, which resulted in some of these coins having strange, distorted features that weren't meant to be there. These die clashes happen when two dies, which are used to stamp the designs on the coin, collide with one another before the coin is struck, creating unintended images on the coin's surface. These errors are highly sought after by collectors because they make the coin stand out and add an element of rarity that can significantly increase its value. Another reason the 1987 quarter dollar is so valuable is due to the low mintage of certain varieties. Although millions of quarters were minted that year, there are certain versions of the coin, especially those with errors or special characteristics, that were produced in much smaller numbers. These low mintage varieties are always in high demand among collectors, making them especially valuable to anyone seeking out rare and unique coins for their collections. If you're holding a 1987 quarter, you might be wondering how to identify if yours is one of these rare varieties. The die clash error is one of the most noticeable features, and you'll want to look for any strange marks or distortions on the coin. The most common areas to check are around the letters, numbers, and features of George Washington's portrait. If you notice any doubling or unusual lines, there's a good chance you've found a valuable coin. Using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can help you get a closer look at the details of the coin to spot these errors more easily. It's also important to keep an eye on the condition of the coin. Coins that are in mint state, meaning they have barely any wear or scratches, are the most valuable. A coin that's been well preserved and carefully handled is far more sought after than one that's been tossed around in your pocket for years. If you're lucky enough to find a 1987 quarter in mint condition, it could significantly increase the value of the coin. While some collectors focus solely on errors and mint marks, others are drawn to coins with historical significance. The 1987 quarter falls into this category because it represents a snapshot of U.S. coinage during the 1980s, a decade that saw both economic growth and significant changes in the country. Holding a 1987 quarter is like holding a small piece of history, and for many collectors, that historical context adds an extra layer of value to the coin. So, how much is the 1987 quarter dollar really worth? If you're lucky enough to have one with a noticeable minting error, particularly a die clash or other unique feature, its value could be $52,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $52,000 for a single coin. That's right, A coin that you might have passed over in your pocket change could potentially be worth more than some people's entire annual salary. It's an unbelievable amount of money, but it's a reality in the world of rare coin collecting. Now, you might be thinking, how do I find one of these rare coins? Well, it all comes down to carefully inspecting your quarters, especially those from 1987. Take the time to look for any signs of error, such as the die clash marks or other unusual features that don't belong. It's also worth checking the mint mark on your coin. The 1987 quarter could have been minted in either the Philadelphia or Denver Mint, and some collectors may be specifically looking for one of these mint marks to complete their collection. If you think you've found a rare 1987 quarter, it's a good idea to get it professionally graded. Grading is the process of evaluating a coin's condition and authenticity, and it can help determine just how valuable your coin truly is. A professional grading service will assess the coin's quality, the severity of any errors, and other factors that contribute to its value. The higher the grade, the more money your coin could be worth. In addition to the errors, another factor that affects the value of the 1987 quarter is its provenance, or history. If the coin has been passed down through generations, or if it comes with a certificate of authenticity, its value can increase even further. Some collectors are particularly drawn to coins with a unique backstory, so having a documented history can be a huge bonus. In conclusion, the 1987 United States quarter dollar is far more than just a regular coin you'd find in your change. With the possibility of rare minting errors, low mintage varieties, and the coin's historical significance, it's no wonder that this quarter can fetch up to an astounding $52,000. So, next time you're going through your change, take a closer look at those quarters. You might just be holding a small fortune in your hand, waiting to be discovered. Today, we have a coin that could be hiding in your change jar, and you wouldn't even know it's worth a small fortune. We're talking about the 1988 United States quarter dollar. This might look like a standard quarter to the untrained eye, but trust us, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. With its potential for rare minting errors and some unique features, the 1988 quarter dollar is a highly sought-after piece among collectors, and it could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents. Stick with us as we uncover the details that make this quarter truly remarkable, and just how much it could fetch if you're lucky enough to have one in your collection. Let's take a step back and set the scene for 1988. The United States was in the middle of a period of economic growth, just after the Reagan years, and was about to enter the final stages of the 1980s. President Ronald Reagan was finishing up his second term, and the country was experiencing economic recovery and technological advancements. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was busy creating millions of coins for circulation, including the iconic Washington quarter, which had been in circulation for decades. At first glance, the 1988 quarter dollar might not seem like anything special. It features the well-known profile of George Washington on the obverse, and the reverse showcases an eagle perched on a branch. These images have been standard for the quarter for years, but it's the little details and the possible errors that could make the 1988 quarter a valuable collector's item. You might be wondering what could make a 1988 quarter worth anything more than the 25 cents stamped on its face. Well, the answer lies in some rare minting errors that occurred during that year's production. During the minting process, occasionally a coin can be struck with a mistake. These are known as error coins. These errors can vary from double strikes to die clashes, and they're highly sought after by coin collectors because of their rarity. In the case of the 1988 quarter, one of the most significant types of errors that occurred was the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet, the piece of metal that will eventually become a coin, is not properly aligned with the die when it's struck. As a result, the design is stamped off-center, creating a coin with a distorted image. These off-center strikes are one of the most popular and valuable errors in the world of coin collecting, and they can make an otherwise ordinary 1988 quarter worth thousands of dollars. Another reason the 1988 quarter dollar is so valuable is its low mintage for certain varieties. While millions of these coins were minted that year, some versions of the coin are more rare than others. Specifically, the 1988 quarters with minting errors, like the off-center strike, were produced in much smaller quantities than the regular quarters. This scarcity increases the coin's value because collectors are always searching for the rarest and most unique examples. The key here is to look closely at your 1988 quarters for any signs of minting errors. Start by checking the alignment of the design. A perfectly struck coin will have the design centered on the coin, while an off-center strike will have the image shifted or incomplete. Next, inspect the lettering, date, and the portrait of George Washington. If any of these features seem distorted, doubled, or misaligned, it could be a sign that the coin is a rare error. But it's not just the error that adds value to a coin. Condition plays a huge role too. A coin in excellent condition, particularly one that has never been used in circulation, can fetch a far higher price than a coin that's seen heavy wear and tear. If you find a 1988 quarter that's in mint condition, or has been carefully preserved, its value will skyrocket. Coins that have been graded as mint state are particularly prized by collectors, and they can command a premium price on the market. Now, let's get to the exciting part: the value of the 1988 quarter dollar. If you have one of these rare error coins, especially one with an off-center strike, and it's in excellent condition, you could be holding a coin worth as much as $57,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $57,000 for a single coin. That's more than most people earn in a year, just for a quarter that you may have overlooked in your spare change. It's important to note that while not every 1988 quarter will be worth this amount, finding a rare error coin, particularly one in great condition, can yield an incredible return. If you think you might have an error coin in your collection, the best thing to do is to have it professionally graded. A professional coin grading service will evaluate the condition of your coin, confirm if it has any errors, and assign it a grade. Coins with higher grades, especially error coins, are always worth more. But how do you make sure you're getting the best value for your coin? Aside from having it graded, make sure to research its provenance and history. Coins with a documented history, especially those passed down from previous generations, can fetch even higher prices. Some collectors value the story behind the coin as much as the coin itself, so if you have a 1988 quarter with a unique backstory, it could be even more desirable. The value of rare coins is constantly fluctuating based on demand and rarity, so the sooner you spot a valuable coin like the 1988 quarter, the better. These coins tend to increase in value over time, especially as more collectors become aware of their rarity and significance. If you hold on to a rare 1988 era coin, you might find that its value appreciates even further in the years to come. In conclusion, the 1988 United States quarter dollar is far more than just another coin. With the possibility of minting errors like the off-center strike, along with its low mintage and historical importance, this quarter has the potential to be worth far more than its face value. If you find one in your collection, or even in your spare change, it's worth taking a second look because you might be holding a rare treasure. To sum it all up, a well-preserved 1988 quarter dollar with a minting error could be worth as much as $57,000. It might sound too good to be true, but in the world of coin collecting, rare finds like this happen all the time. Today, we have something truly special to share with you: the 1989 United States quarter dollar. Now you might think, what's so exciting about a quarter? But trust me, this particular coin has the potential to change the way you look at your pocket change forever. So sit tight, because you're about to discover why the 1989 quarter dollar is not just a piece of currency, but a hidden treasure that could be worth a small fortune. Let's start by setting the scene. The year was 1989, and the United States was in the midst of a transformative decade. The country was experiencing a booming economy, and the U.S. Mint was hard at work producing coins for circulation. The country was still under the leadership of President George H.W. Bush, and the world was gearing up for the end of the Cold War. While it seemed like just another year of progress, something interesting was happening in the world of coinage. Certain quarters from 1989 were being minted in ways that would leave a lasting mark in history. At first glance, the 1989 quarter might look just like any other. It features George Washington's portrait on the front, a design that's been familiar to us for decades, and on the reverse, the eagle perched on a branch. These images have been the standard for the Washington quarter since 1932, so it's easy to overlook this coin among the others. But what if I told you that buried in the mounds of these seemingly ordinary quarters, there's a rare, valuable treasure? What makes the 1989 quarter so special? Well, it all comes down to a few factors: minting errors and low mintage. During that year, the U.S. Mint made a few key mistakes that created rare coins, much like a hidden Easter egg for collectors. One of the most significant errors that occurred in 1989 was related to the alignment of the coin's dies. This resulted in some of the coins being struck off-center, which made them stand out from the standard quarters. These off-center strikes are incredibly valuable because they are not supposed to happen during the normal minting process. When a coin is struck off-center, it means the metal planchet, the piece of metal that gets stamped with the design, isn't properly aligned with the die. This results in the design being imprinted in an irregular, off-centered pattern. These types of minting errors are rare, and they make the coin highly collectible. In fact, off-center strikes are one of the most sought-after errors in the world of coin collecting. In addition to these errors, another reason why the 1989 quarter dollar is so valuable is due to the fact that only a limited number of coins with certain characteristics were produced that year. Some quarters were minted in specific locations, and these regional mints sometimes had different die variations. If you have a 1989 quarter with a rare die mark or unique feature, it could be worth much more than just a regular coin. Now, let's talk about how to spot these rare and valuable quarters. The first thing to look for is the mint mark. If your 1989 quarter has a D mint mark, it means it was produced in Denver, whereas a P mint mark would indicate it was minted in Philadelphia. The mint mark can be found just below the eagle's tail on the reverse side of the coin. But the real key to identifying a valuable 1989 quarter is to closely inspect the design for any signs of errors. If you're lucky enough to find a 1989 quarter with an off-center strike or any other error, like a double strike, die crack, or other unique feature, you could be holding a rare and valuable coin. The most common areas to look for these errors are around the edges of the coin and in the central design. If the lettering, numbers, or features of Washington's portrait appear misaligned or distorted, you could be looking at an error coin that's worth a lot more than face value. But it's not just about the error itself, the condition of the coin matters too. A 1989 quarter in excellent, uncirculated condition can dramatically increase in value. The less wear and tear the coin has, the more valuable it will be to collectors. Coins that are well preserved and have been carefully stored over the years are the most desirable on the market. If you have one of these pristine coins, it could make a huge difference when it comes time to sell or trade. Now, let's get to the exciting part. How much could a 1989 quarter be worth? If you have one with a rare minting error, such as an off-center strike, or a low mintage variety in excellent condition, the value can be astounding. In fact, a 1989 quarter with a significant error could be worth as much as $65,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $65,000 for a single quarter. That's more than most people earn in a year, just for a small piece of US currency. The truth is, these types of coins are highly coveted by collectors, and the demand for error coins continues to rise. As fewer of these rare coins remain in circulation, their value only increases. So, if you have a 1989 quarter sitting in your collection, it might be worth a closer look. It could be your ticket to a substantial payday. If you're not sure whether your coin is an error or if it's in great condition, the best course of action is to have it professionally graded. A coin grading service can assess the coin's condition, confirm any errors, and give you an accurate value. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin is, and professional grading can help you get top dollar when it's time to sell or trade. In addition to the error coins, it's worth mentioning that coins with a documented history or provenance can fetch even higher prices. If your 1989 quarter has been passed down through generations or has a unique backstory, collectors may be willing to pay more for it. So, the next time you're going through your change, be sure to pay close attention to your 1989 quarter dollars. You might just be holding a rare treasure worth more than you ever imagined. Whether it's a minting error, a low mintage variety, or a coin in pristine condition, the 1989 quarter dollar is a coin that should not be overlooked. To recap, a rare 1989 United States quarter dollar with an off-center strike or other minting error could be worth as much as $65,000. That's a life-changing amount of money for something that most people would dismiss as just another quarter. So keep your eyes peeled and check your coins carefully, because you never know when you might stumble upon a hidden gem in your collection. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you found this video helpful and exciting, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a valuable coin discovery. Until next time, happy collecting, and best of luck with your coin hunting.